Clicked it. Let me look. Yes, sir. Or ma'am.
It's Rick. How are you?
I'm good. How are you?
I'm good. So, it's sir. You can call me sir. You know, I appreciate the professionality. All right, here we go. I have an issue with the way that you're going about this, and I'm wondering why you're going about this comparing things that are going on with things that liberals would do, and making an argument, a straw man argument for certain, what's the best way to put it? A straw man argument, or, you know, in all reality, you're making the liberals look worse because, you know, people are doing things that are, I don't know. Can you explain it to me, your thought process there?
Very easily. The left and the right are the same thing. Everybody's figured that out, except a certain subsector of this political realm that a lot of people like to participate in. Again, I'm going to say it again since you're here now. When Donald Trump was coming around, well, I'll even go further before that. When Obama got in, right? Everybody was loving Obama, right? Up until about when he bailed out everybody. Everybody started turning on him, right? Okay. His second term was very rocky. He has so many scandals, so whatever. A lot of the people that went over to MAGA used to love that man, and they started saying, you know what? He's probably not that good. Donald Trump comes out. He starts hating on Obama. He starts saying things that, you know, were controversial, things that, you know, you didn't expect a politician to say. And it galvanized a bunch of people to cross over to the right. Fair or unfair? Am I lying so far? Hello.
Sorry, I muted my mic. My apologies. At what point in your mind does these figureheads going from a stance on Israel become going to the left? Why is that?
No. What I said was they were never on the right. That's my point. They never espoused the right's principles. They were a bunch of lefties that went over there because there was money and access to be had. They weren't real.
So let's break this down a little bit more then. What is your definition of someone on the right?
Well, my definition of someone on the right is somebody that's supposed to espouse American values in the point of it's supposed to be community first as a mortal, but you're supposed to uphold God first, correct? You're supposed to be.
I would agree that I would think that religion and politics doesn't coincide as much as people believe it does, but because a lot of conservatives are religious, it's been conflated. But we're a country with no national religion.
Correct.
So it's kind of
I agree with you on that, but we're just going to go based on how the conservatives define it, right? It's also.
I would say that religion plays a part in certain views. Yes.
Okay.
But I do believe that there's ways to defend those views without religion involved.
Right.
For the most part.
Right. It's also supposed to be for social stability, correct?
Define what you mean by social stability. I mean, as a gender.
We're not supposed to be tearing each other. We're not supposed to be tearing each other apart over simple issues that could just be figured out with solutions.
I would agree with that, I guess, in that sense. Sure. Yeah.
Okay. It's also supposed to be for limited government, correct?
Correct.
So why do you have a bunch of right-wing podcasters and voices who y'all, I don't know if you're on the right or the left, but we have seen many people prop them up to stages that they would never have gotten to on the left?
I agree with that, absolutely. And why do you think that is?
Because when they wanted to finally get on, because I've also proven this on my channel, I've shown people like Officer Tatum and Greg Foreman, the Black Conservative Perspective, when they were over there on the left, their views were in the toilet. They were getting like hundreds of views on their videos. Then they grifted over to the right, and all of a sudden they're getting millions of views. They're getting access. They don't believe any of the principles that they believe in. And Brandon Tatum to use him as an example, already exposed himself by going over talking to Bibi Netanyahu. He got that from Valuetainment. And now his views are starting to go in the dirt now. People have turned on him.
I disagree with the sentiment that views calculate political perspective. I'm just saying that. I don't believe. I believe
I find that's fine.
Not a direct correlation to.
Yeah, that's the run we playing right now. Most of these networks have told everybody, we put you on because your message gets out to millions of people, so it's also going to help us.
So
you literally watched Fox News the other day put on a TikToker because they were doing the cancel culture thing.
Yeah, I guess I didn't see that aspect.
Yeah, I mean that's been happening for the last 5 years. They've been putting on social media influencers based on their views.
I didn't see the one last week. No,
that's fine. That's fine. But
that's the truth.
Yeah, you could look it up on Twitter. But you've seen for the last 5 years, I'm not even going to use pre-pandemic, but you've seen for the last 5 years, they put on social media influencers with regularity.
Yeah, and okay, I mean, I hear you. All those things are really bucket statements rather than just, an actual. We're talking about us giving platforms to people who used to be on the left. Is that what we're referring to? And
literally, your biggest voices used to be on the left.
Okay, so does that mean that everybody who used to be on the left and went over to the right can't change their mind again and go back to the left if they want?
No, I'm not saying that, but you're already seeing it. I gave out examples. I don't know when you came in, but I already gave out examples. Candace Owens is doing it right now. Candace Owens is doing it right now.
Well, let's point one out and talk about it then.
Candace Owens, she's doing it right now.
Candace Owens by going against Israel?
No, it's not that. It's because they deleted Charlie Kirk. She's talking about now exposing everybody. That's what she used to do when she was Red Pill Black on Facebook.
So what you're saying is that because she threatened to,
it's not a threat. She's going to go through with it. It's not a threat.
I mean,
I really see why she's doing it. She's doing it to take the stink off of what's going on with her and Macron. Because everybody forgot about that now. Because now all they're talking about with Candace Owens is she's threatening to expose and burn down TPUSA.
I mean, I hear you. I hear what you're saying. I believe that the sentiment is a little disingenuous in my mind.
I mean, that's fine. That's just my opinion, but I'm just basing it off the facts that I'm seeing. A lot of them are starting to go back to they're either going back to the left or they're going to the center.
Prove what that Charlie Kirk had issues with the Gaza situation. I think everyone does. I think the Gaza situation.
But here's the thing: I haven't said anything about Charlie Kirk. I said he was going to the center. I didn't say he was going to the left. I was very specific on who I mentioned.
I understand. I believe that everyone should be in the center, to be honest. That's what I believe. I think everybody should find reasons to why they agree or disagree with something rather than take these hardline stances on any issue.
You won't make money.
If you believe that you are right, then how are you ever going to know that you're right?
Mr. Rack, you'll never make money doing that.
And I think that that's really what he... I don't, here's my thing. I have a hard time with conflating religion and politics, and I don't like that aspect of Charlie Kirk's scenario, but he believes in what he believes in. And again, I believe he defended his beliefs with points that did not, he may have believed it because of his religion, but it can be defended without religion involved. And I think he did that very well, better than most.
But he also brought up Bible verses when he was doing these debates.
I agree, and I always found that to be a difficult,
There's a reason why the founding fathers wanted the separation of church and state.
Exactly, I agree with that. It explains the level of his belief, and really, I think that's what we conflate a lot. Is one figurehead is now the belief of everyone within the party. I find that very hard to believe, and I don't think that's the case at all. When you think about the millions of Americans that switched from the Democrat Party over to the Republican Party, when 96% of news coverage was against Trump during the election, that happens for a very short list of reasons. I believe that the
the radical left, social media and the media that spews hate all day. And if you're MAGA, you're a Nazi. If you're this, then you're that. If you are on the right, then you're a fascist. I don't think most people even know what fascist, like the definition of fascist is, to be honest. Mm-hmm. I think that happened solely because people are tired of not being able to express their viewpoints and being put in a box that they're labeled because of whatever the media has been telling them. Because they say Trump's a fascist. I don't think people know what fascism is.
Correct. So why is MAGA in cancel culture?
Listen, I understand what you're saying, and I appreciate the question. I think it's a sensationalized question because I don't believe that exposing text messages from Charlie Kirk, someone who's dead, is now cancel culture.
No, I'm not talking about that. I'm talking about them getting people fired and getting people kicked out of school. Why are they doing that if they're about open dialogue, like Charlie was? And they're doing it in his name.
What I believe is that it's bad PR for the company. I believe it's bad PR. I think it's the company's turn. I don't think it's people. If it is people on the right calling in to show or it's exposing the videos of people.
They have a whole website. They have a whole website right now. That first they called it charliesmurderers.org, and literally had a list of people and their screenshots and where they live. Then I guess whoever got to him told him that what you're doing is illegal, number one. Two, it's defaming people. And three, you're going to open yourself up to liability. They went and changed it to an aggregate site.
And who went and did that?
Somebody on the right. Somebody on the right. Yeah, somebody on the right did that. And allegedly, Law Loomer is involved in it. That would be something the left would do.
I would agree with that statement, but I also would need some context. If one radical leftist does some radical shit on the side, or does some crazy shit on the side that doesn't make all leftists,
correct.
This way. Because one person who is angry and frustrated about this situation with Charlie.
And guess what? If the leftists did this, I would be calling them out too.
Yeah, I agree.
I would say you were acting just like a crazy right winger would be doing. They're all the same. That's why I started off saying they're all the same.
Again, I find it very difficult to take, that's a straw man argument in the sense of you're taking one example and providing a context of an overarching scenario that's applicable to all. And I think that's a difficult way to have a real conversation about anything.
So how come when Trump announced the crime bill, how come everybody didn't scream and say this is wrong?
That's another issue that
hold on. Somebody just brought up a good point in the chat. Hold on 1 second. Wait a minute. Somebody brought up hold on 1 second. Somebody brought up a good point in the chat. This Lou person said, I think they're all still chapped about leftist docs and ICE agents.
Yeah,
that's wrong. But why would y'all go to the opposite?
It's fucking wrong. I don't know why somebody would try and do that.
Right, but why would you go to the other side and do it?
Same issues.
Why would the right go to the other side and do it?
But I wouldn't consider someone like that the right. I wouldn't consider that a true like Republican in all honesty. You're not MAGA, or are you?
I'm not MAGA.
Okay, but you're on the right.
Conservative.
You're considered conservative. Why did y'all allow people? Why did you allow? Okay, so why did conservatives allow those type of voices to permeate? Why is your voice not in the millions? Because you sound very balanced. Why did the conservative ideology allow people on the left to thrive when it should be voices like you talking?
What do you mean by that's what I'm saying? What people on the left are you referring to?
I just gave
former liberals?
Yes. Y'all allow former liberals.
If they're former liberals, what if their mind changed?
Did they not start on the left, sir? Did they not change their thing?
They genuinely were able to change their mind.
Let me ask you a question. Are you upset at Liz Cheney for how she would be talking about Trump?
No, I don't really care what anybody says about Trump. What I care about is the external message behind it is the better way to put it. Like, what is the reason? If you're mad about a specific subject, that's fine, but these overarching, names and labels that they put on these people is like, America's so racist and everything's fucking bullshit. It's like, but it's
them calling themselves that.
Starter arguments. You can't debate someone that calls you a racist. You can't debate someone that calls you a Nazi.
Yes, you can. You can debate them. You can debate and prove that you're not.
Well, I agree.
Charlie never proved that he was a racist. He wasn't a racist.
How many liberal minds do you think he really changed?
I don't know, sir.
Multiple, like those people who come up and call him that have never really seen any debate that he's had, and they're just there to get their little, feelers.
Wait, how did he attract all those people? Wait. How did he attract all those people if they didn't see his debates?
I thought we were talking about the people who debated Charlie Kirk. I thought
No. I'm talking about the people like Brandon Tatum, what you see on your screen. That's what I'm talking about.
Yeah, I mean, that was August 3rd, 2021. So
okay, 2021. He was already talking way before this. There's another one on Spotify from 2019. He was already talking. He was already amassing a large following. He was already being featured on TV. Why did you allow a voice like this that used to be on the left talk for conservatives when he's not a conservative himself?
Well, I'll tell you, just because you're not born a conservative. It's not
about being born. It's not about being born. That man became a conservative in 10 years. How long have you been how long have you had your views, sir?
I had my views when I call myself a fiscal conservative, and I'll get a little.
I fuck with fiscal conservatives. I can actually have conversations with fiscal conservatives.
Okay, so I consider myself a fiscal conservative because I was 18 years old when my dad died. Mm-hmm. And when my dad died, he left me the house that I grew up in, and we grew up in. We weren't well off. We were okay. We were fine. Mm-hmm. And then he died, and there was something called the estate tax.
Correct.
I had to pay 50% of the estate back to the government because I inherited an estate. And it's absolute dog shit that I had to sell the house that I grew up in that had paid taxes on it. There were no back taxes. He had no issues with the government or any taxes ever paid. And then when I inherit my money that he left me, and he thankfully made a 401k with about $100,000 in it by the time I was 18 and when he died, I had to pay tax on that. That's already been taxed. So I'm getting double taxed, and now I have to lose my family house, and now I don't know what to do and where to go. It was a very
trying time.
It was very hard, and that's why I consider myself a fiscal conservative.
Correct.
That's really the main reason, and I have views other than that. But that was when I started these views of, you know what, fuck the government. Why are you going to go and give money to these fuckers and all these other countries and all this other fucking bullshit when you take it from me when it's already been taxed? It makes no fucking sense.
Talk your shit. Now, explain. Okay, so great. And again, I'm sorry for your loss. I'm sorry for your loss. Now, again, I go back to my other question. Why did the broader conservative ideology allow ex-liberals to come in and be their voices instead of someone like you? Because they're not preaching this.
I believe that. I mean, I don't even know what I'm preaching. I'm trying to.
No, it's not what I'm saying. What you're saying, limited the principles of real conservatism. They're not preaching this.
I don't know what a real conservative would even look like. I don't know what a real liberal is.
Someone that's someone in favor of limited government, like you said.
Context and everyone.
What you just said, Rec.
We see political violence with people.
Rec. What you just said is what a real conservative would say.
I can't even tell you what a conservative is anymore.
You just said it, sir. You just said it, but you just said it. Someone that says, "Screw the government. Why are you giving away money when we have people hurting here?"
That's a fiscal conservative.
Correct, but you're still a conservative, correct? But you're still a conservative, correct?
Yeah.
That's a real conservative, right? Okay. Brandon Tatum and the rest of them aren't doing that. They're going and just doing reaction clickbait content. That's all they're doing. They're not providing solutions. That's what I'm trying to say. Y'all let liberals, what liberals do a lot, they do reactionary content. They do reactionary views. They are not about solutions. They're not about solutions.
And I'll tell you why. You asked the question a couple of times now, and I'll answer it after you gave that explanation. And I appreciate that because I agree that it's a bit of a problem. But I was having this conversation last night with one of my friends, and I...
Hold on one second, Rec.
I said exactly
Rec, hold on one second. Ex-Catsy, you a damn lie. I can't believe you just said that. You said they aren't in favor of limiting government. That's not the conservatives doing that, sir. I can't... See, this is what I mean. And he said he a lefty. He proved him a point right now. How is Matt... I know y'all not paying attention. I get it. My bad, Rec. Go ahead.
It's all good. I'll answer that question because I answered it last night, actually. And I believe that because what was the MAGA movement really before it was MAGA? We were called the silent majority.
You would have to go back to Reagan.
I'm talking about during the Trump era. We were the silent majority.
No, what y'all were supposed to be, and I actually respected y'all for this, y'all were actually promoting small businesses. I don't see y'all doing that now. But you're not MAGA, so I won't say y'all, but they were promoting small businesses. They're not doing that now. Now they're going after corporations and aligning with corporations.
I agree with you in that sense, and I think that's
They were about gun laws and making sure that the gun laws are not being trampled upon. Now you're seeing in the second term, they're talking about gun control.
Right, but we also are, as a rule, very economy-oriented. And the economy is a very important piece of our lifestyle, our ability to live. If our economy's dicked, then we're dicked. And there's no two ways about it. So to protect our economy, we definitely have to protect the corporations that employ tens of thousands, if not hundreds of thousands of Americans, and keep our economy growing in a way, in a sense. That would be my justification of that.
So wouldn't you agree that the leftists are trying to destroy the economy so they can install their own?
I wouldn't necessarily say that. I think there's a level of ignorance with the left when it comes
So why did they get upset that Hyundai plant down here in Georgia where I live, why are they upset that those workers got deported?
Because they're illegals?
Correct.
That's probably why?
Correct. Why wouldn't they say, great, they're gone, let's get some of our people in there. Let's get Americans in there.
Or the Americans?
No, the liberals.
So
Why didn't the liberals say we can't lose this, let's go put Americans in those jobs? They're right now advocating to get more illegals back in them jobs.
Why? So I'm just trying to understand the question. You're asking me, why did the liberals not go put their own people in there?
Why didn't they advocate for Americans?
Because I'm trying to understand the question, because what you're asking is why didn't...
Okay, you heard about the Hyundai plant that got raided, right?
Right.
Okay. And it was a bunch of Hispanic and Korean workers. They got flued out.
Right.
The liberals right now are saying they're putting up a resolution to their lawmakers to bring them back. Why aren't they advocating for actual Americans? And number two, why is MAGA not out there saying we got a bunch of people right now that are not working, let's put them in them plants?
I would say that the reason they are so sensationalized on this illegal issue and making it such a political issue is because of the racism issue, the racism connotation with Trump. It started a long time ago when Trump said we're going to close the border and get rid of illegals, and now Trump's a racist. But here's my perspective on that. I think that because issues nowadays are not in the center, it's either you're a far leftist or you are a full conservative, and it's very difficult to find things in the middle nowadays. And I believe that with the illegal immigration, here's my take on it, and the whole racist thing with Trump. We can debate certain aspects of what he said and blah, blah, blah. But what I believe is that illegal immigration, that is, in my opinion, a terrible aspect of our economic success in this country. I agree that they do jobs that we don't want to do, but and that's all. They have the low-paying jobs and whatever. But really, why it's hurting our economy. And I think illegals that are here and have been here and have been contributing to the businesses they work for and actually working should have a path to citizenship. I think there's no question about that. But I do think that now we have, and even it's started in the Obama administration, we have been subsidizing illegal immigration. And honestly, we've been promoting it. Now,
you get to come over here illegally, and you get a hotel room, you get cash money, you get food stamps, you get a phone. You basically get 3 meals a day. We are subsidizing and promoting people to come in here illegally, and it's a spit in the face to any immigrant that came here the right way. What do they get? What has the government ever put me in a 5-star hotel and given me 3 meals a day and done anything for me? They've never done anything for actual American citizens, but yet you come in here illegally. All you have to do is go through a port of entry and file for amnesty. Give us a legitimate reason why you want to come here. Tell us that you have your family's going to get killed or something. Have a legitimate. You have civil war in your country. Don't just illegally come here and tell us you want more money. If you do want to do that, that's fine, but apply. Go through the process just like everyone else has to. The problem is that it's not the illegal immigrants themselves, in my mind. The way I look at it is it's the subsidization of it. And the reasoning behind that is really a lot of conservatives' opinion.
Cool. Now, so explain this to me then. I like what you said. Explain this to me then. Then why over Christmas break last year you had 2 prominent figures in MAGA advocate for basically having H-1Bs here, which basically tantamounts to almost illegal immigration because they pay taxes, but they also let them stay past that.
Yes, the H-1B issue is tough. I mean, the H-1B is a visa, and honestly, it's a legal it's a legal mode of entry, and you pay taxes. And I believe for me personally, that's my biggest issue. The path to amnesty, in my mind, would be prove that you're working, prove that you have a job, prove that you're contributing to the American economy. Then these illegal immigrants could actually come here and make a living wage, and they'd be contributing to the society and the companies that hire them that make a ridiculous amount of money, because these companies are not hiring these people and then making no fucking money and having orchards and fucking Napa Valley vineyards that these wine companies are selling their bottles of wine for thousands of dollars, and it costs them $8 a make. Then what they could actually do is sit there and pay tax on the payroll tax to contribute to their state and federal economy. I think that's a perfect example of what I believe should happen.
Right.
We need these people to do their jobs, but why are we letting these people, these big corporations? I'm not talking about the mom and pop farm that hired Jose from Home Depot. I'm talking about these big, massive operations that should be paying tax on all their workers, on payroll tax on all their employees, and should be paying their employees a fair wage. I don't understand where it got so twisted that we just want illegal immigrants here, but let them work these shit jobs and not have to pay tax. I like why. Where did that? That's where the side that I don't understand why it went so far left, or people went so far left on that ideology. Right.
So and then your president said, "I'm going to draft an executive order to keep them here."
And I agree with the path to amnesty for working illegal immigrants that have shown a dedication to a company. I don't know how we can prove that. I don't know what we can do. I think there's going to be a lot of fraud. My problem with amnesty is, as a whole, is the Republicans don't want amnesty. The Democrats do. And I don't know about all Democrats, but I know that they do. And the problem is what's been the biggest margin in a presidential election ever?
It was Reagan.
In votes.
It's Reagan.
17 million.
No,
there are 32 illegal immigrants in here, and if they get citizenship from the Democrats, that gives them the ability to vote. That is a guaranteed win for the liberals for the next however the fuck long. For the next
they tried that.
5 elections.
But remember, hold on,
Rick,
they tried that and they voted for Republicans.
They voted against that. I understand because
right.
it's bullshit. If the Republicans were trying to do it, I would hope the left would vote against it as well.
But a lot of those legal immigrants in Florida voted for Trump.
You can't vote as an illegal immigrant.
No, I mean, like they came here, but they got their citizenship. But when it came up to that illegal immigration thing, they said, "Nah, we don't want that."
Because they came here and they got their citizenship.
But they were illegal first, though.
Illegally, but they went through the process to get it, and they got it. If they went through the process, then that's all well and good.
I mean, some of them. The Castro thing was that's an outlier, but a lot of them did go through the process, but they were also helped by corporations to fast track that stuff. They didn't have to do the 5-10 year thing.
But that's the same thing that I was saying with the path to amnesty for the people we're talking about in the orange orchards and apple orchards and these fucking farms in Napa Valley. That if they're contributing to the society and contributing to the company, let's make it so they actually contribute and they can prove that they've been contributing and a hardworking member of the society.
Correct. And the left wants that, right? But that's why I also said MAGA's leftist, because you also saw MAGA say the same thing.
I don't think that's a leftist viewpoint. I think
it is a leftist viewpoint to have illegal immigrants here.
It's a leftist viewpoint to let illegal immigrants into this country and let them stay, not prove to us that you're a hardworking member of society.
Correct. And your president sat there and said, I'm going to reward them by giving them an executive order saying they can stay because I want to appease the corporations.
I can understand that from if that was an overarching thing that was to every single corporation that has ever hired illegal immigrants that you can give.
Would you be upset if Biden did that?
I wouldn't be upset if Biden did it, but I don't think Biden or the left would let something like that happen. I think that if it's not for all, then it's for none, I believe is what they really do believe in a major way. It's all or nothing with the Democrats in a major way.
No, but what I'm saying is if Biden said, I'm going to write an executive order keeping illegals here, would you be upset?
It depends on the content of the bill.
The same thing that Trump said.
If it was the same thing that Trump said, I would support it. Yeah, I would, because I think that's if it's the same path of having them become legal citizens, and there's a path and it's dialed out.
No, but he's not talking about a path. He's talking about a path that I want to appease the corporations by keeping their workers here. There's no path. He wants to keep this. He basically said that executive order to keep the system the way it is.
And I appreciate that for a couple reasons. If they are going to be contributing members of society, I would say, and paying taxes, and then becoming members of our society, that's fine with me.
So doesn't that fly in the face of what he campaigned on?
Sorry?
Doesn't that fly in the face of what he campaigned on?
I mean, I'm sure that there are some hard right line people that would think that way, and I don't speak for them.
I mean, again, like I said, over Christmas they had a war about that. They had an internal strife over that, and then when he said what he said, they had internal strife over that too.
So internal strikes happen all the time in every party. It's the truth, in both parties, and it's
right. So y'all can't get upset at me when I say left and right are the same. It's just certain issues they're gonna lean a certain way, but they all think the same thing. They're against you.
I asked you earlier what you think the right is, so we could form that definition, and I'm wondering what your thoughts are on what the left is. What is a leftist?
I thought I explained that earlier. Someone that wants social control over everything. Someone that wants the government as their arm. They want to expand government. You've already seen it. Think about it like this. When Biden went at the State of the Union, right? Remember, they were running on defund the police. How come when he said refund the police, they all were agreeing with it and then went back to their constituents and told them we're going to give them cops more money? How did the message change that quick?
I don't have an answer for that. What I will say is this, and to be honest, I stepped outside and put out my cigarette, so I didn't hear that.
That's fine. Yeah, just go back to that State of the Union when Biden said refund the police. The Democrats were for it. And then you can go to any liberal city you want and look at their budgets from the day he said that up to today. Every one of them went up, even though they were talking about defunding police.
Right, but the problem is the defund the police thing, right? Mm-hmm. That's a really tough issue, because in all reality, the places with the most police are the safest places, period, point blank. And
that's not what MAGA says.
It's a difficult issue because it becomes racial very quickly.
Mm-hmm.
And I'll ask you, do you know how many unarmed black people were killed last year?
It's a very low number.
Correct. And it's very disingenuous that the entire movement was essentially based on lies. That I'm not saying that it's easy to be a black man or a black woman or a black kid in America by any means, but there's statistical reasons behind it that are.
Do you believe
just-
Do you believe that the
just
system is
disingenuous.
messed up?
Sorry?
Do you believe the justice system is messed up?
100%. There's absolutely no question about it.
So why, as an overture, why hasn't the right said let's reform it?
Well, that's a good question.
Because again, like I said earlier, just like the left, they want the system the way it is. They both make money off of it.
It's true, privatized prisons are terrible.
Not just that. They like I said before, with people like Brandon Tatum, they get access. They could talk about both sides of the issue, make money off of it. He could talk about a black person getting killed, but then talk about the white person that saved somebody from a black person before they went and killed somebody. Can't lose. We've been saying for years, black grassroots have been saying for years, let's all sit down and figure out how to change the justice system. Let's get these corrupt judges out, these corrupt lawyers, these corrupt cops out. They don't want to hear that argument unless they are the ones that brought it up first. So now we said, okay, fine. Since y'all don't want to help us, cool. We're going to go start our own neighborhood watches. We're going to use our own money. We're going to police our own. What happened? Them city councils with the quickness came, shut those down. So how you expect us to stop the crime, since y'all say black on black crime is so prevalent, when you hamstring us with the solution until you come up with it or act like you came up with it?
So what would your solution to?
I just said it, neighborhood watch.
Like neighborhood watches.
Yeah,
and things
let
like that?
us police our own, and if it gets too serious, then that's when you bring in the police. But at least that way you have a buffer.
I mean, I would agree with that in a sense. I don't know much about that subject, so I wouldn't really want.
Basically, you would have a contingent of citizens in a neighborhood or a block.
I understand what you're saying.
Right.
I'm just saying I don't know any examples of city councils coming in and doing that. I just
look up
haven't
the
seen
story
it.
of the Detroit 300.
Say that one more time.
Look up the story of the Detroit 300. Those were a group of citizens who sat there and were policing their neighborhoods. Crime started going down just because two black women said they were doing too much. The city council came in and pulled their funding. They basically had to disband.
Okay, let's look at this. They gave them $10 million to help fight violence in Detroit. Boom. This was in when? When was this?
That was in the mid 2010s.
Okay, all right. So that's a tough one, but here's what I can say is that when the reason law enforcement officers have what's called, what is it? Some kind of immunity.
Qualified immunity, which means they can't be personally sued if they kill somebody or injure somebody.
Is because they're trained and they may not be trained correctly. We can argue on the training. We can argue on that aspect of it. But having vigilante justice, which one could see this as, where is the oversight of these people?
Well, Detroit 300 but Detroit 300 had
at the hand of a gun.
But
one of these people.
But Detroit 300 had oversight.
City business.
Wait, Detroit 300 had oversight.
And who was their oversight?
The city council that gave them the money. That was their oversight.
I find it very difficult to think that a city council would have the knowledge and understanding of what is going on here in a legal aspect.
They had to present to them every month. Whoa! They had to present to them every month.
Have qualified immunity, so if they go.
No, I'm not talking. No, but they weren't there for vigilante justice. That's what I'm trying to tell you. They weren't there. They were there to protect the citizens, especially the elderly and the children. They weren't there to go beat people up. They were there to just patrol the neighborhoods.
I'm speaking from a legal perspective.
But I'm saying they were legally allowed to police their neighborhoods. They didn't carry guns. They were just walking around like the Hells Angels did. That's all they did. They weren't out there cracking heads. They were out there to stop people from doing criminal acts in the neighborhoods.
What I would argue then is, why do we even need city oversight for something like that?
Because the city doesn't want it coming out that the citizens can protect themselves. That's why. That's why they want to be part of it, or you can't do it. It would be so simple for the right to say, can we get funding? Since y'all want to give out all this money to Israel and all these other countries, put the funding into neighborhood watches. I find it incredible. I find it incredible that in the second term of Trump's administration, now they want to start talking about trade schools when they had 4 years to do it. And you heard people saying it in the first term, but you ignored it because y'all all focused on colleges, saying how woke they were.
To be fair, they were an echo chamber in a major way. If you look at the statistics of what you could go into class with Hillary Clinton gear, with fucking, anything you wanted to wear on a statement. You walk in with a MAGA hat, you're getting kicked out of school. And there's a couple cases of that actually happening.
And did they not sue? Did they not sue for First Amendment?
Real quick, I'll listen to what you have to say, but what I'm saying is that is what started the Ben Shapiro, Charlie Kirk, Matt. I'm blanking on his name right now. But
Matt Walsh. Matt Walsh.
Jesus, sorry.
That just proves that he's irrelevant. But continue.
That's what started that movement, is because we were being. And I say we, I was never a MAGA guy, but I found it very, very disingenuous that someone can, if you're just not on the right side of what the social construct is right now, then you are now silenced. And that politics should not interfere with your ability to go to school. College is meant for people to share and grow in their opinions. And just because someone believes differently than you does not mean that you can silence their voice. That is the definition of fascism.
Well, yeah, MAGA in the first term before the first term started, they were allowed to go and have their little rallies on these campuses.
What I'm saying is the reason I bring up fascism is because that actually is the definition of it.
So what would you call what Greg Abbott is doing right now? So what do you call what Greg Abbott is doing right now? He just kicked 2 kids out of school.
Well,
they didn't call for anybody to get killed. And there's a law in the book that protected that speech.
I'll tell you, I find that not great. I don't like that at all. I don't like silencing people because they have a voice. I think everyone should have a voice, regardless if I agree with your opinion or not. I think that's...
one of them caught an assault charge, and there was no assault taking place.
Part of our Declaration of Independence, that's ingrained in every aspect of our society. It's the reason why we can actually have conversations like this and not be in a place like the UK. If you say something that the government doesn't like on Facebook, you can get arrested.
But that's what Trump is trying to turn but that's what Trump is trying to turn this country into. He loves what the UK does. He even said it yesterday. He said, yeah, somebody says something unfair to me. Yeah, I don't like it. I get it taken down.
And to be fair, Truth Social is a...
I'm not talking about... He didn't say that on Truth Social. He said that in an interview.
Okay.
With reporters standing there and cameramen said it. He said it.
It goes against the ideals of conservatism, period. I didn't see him say that, but if he did, then it goes against all the ideals of what conservatives have fought so long for, and what Charlie Kirk died for, which is open dialogue. And just because you come up and call me a Nazi and call me a fascist and call me a piece of shit and protest me and scream in my face so no one can hear me and try and end my ability to speak.
Here's one.
Everyone who disagree with him, he encouraged that. And you could argue that it's for clips. You can argue that it's for making money and doing business. But, at the end of the day, he still did it and took that abuse, took those death threats and all that. And that's where our country needs to get back to. We need to be able to disagree, but we can't keep pointing fingers at the other side and silencing speech. That goes against every single ingrained value that at least I have, and most true conservatives I believe would have as well.
Right, but this is something he said yesterday. This is something he said yesterday.
The Kirk situation and why it's so such a, what's the best way to put it? Such a conflating event.
Polarizing is better. Polarizing is better.
Non-politician, political figure assassinated in this country in 57 years. The last non-politician political figure was Martin Luther King. And what Charlie did was bring logic to hate, bring logic to people who wanted him dead and had
He said he had blood on his hands, and I would challenge anyone to find any video or any true statement of him calling for violence towards anyone.
He did say we have to take care of trans people like they did in the 50s and 60s.
Okay, I mean, listen, I will tell you this, that I don't have the knowledge to know what we did in the 50s and 60s. I mean,
Basically gang violence. You get with the mob, you get the chains, you get the bats, and you go handle that.
okay, I'd have to see that clip in context to understand if that's actually what he meant. But
You could find that. But here's I don't know if you could see your screen, but here's Trump yesterday talking about speech.
And a woman, in many cases, women, you can see they're professional agitators. I had one the other night. I had 4 the other night, all in one group, total phonies. I started to scream when I got into a restaurant, oh, you know, something with Palestine. And I said, well, I'm doing a great job for peace in the Middle East. I should get lots of...
He's really not, but okay.
The Abraham Accords and everything else. But a woman just stood up and started screaming. And she got booed out of the place, too. The people, there were a lot of people in the restaurant. I went there to show how safe, and it was safe. I mean, the woman is just a mouthpiece. Well, she was a paid agitator.
That's defamation.
And I've asked Pam to look into that.
I wouldn't say that, and I wouldn't say that because he didn't say anything about who this woman is, and didn't.
But he didn't know who this woman was, but he knew she was paid.
I mean, I could consider that libel, not really defamation, but yeah.
Fine, libel. Fine, we'll fine. I'll use libel.
Definitions there.
Fine, I'll use libel.
The woman is just a mouthpiece. Well, she was a paid agitator, and you have a lot of them. And I've asked Pam to look into that in terms of RICO, bringing RICO cases against the criminal RICO, because they should be put in jail. What they're doing to this country is...
So here's what I'll ask you a question about. Do you believe that paid agitators are actually in certain aspects of this country?
Yes.
Places?
Yes, those are your lobbyists. Those are your special interest groups. That's AIPAC. That's AIPAC.
I think this is a very important topic to touch on.
Yeah, the paid agitators. Yes, we're us as the taxpayers are paying people to go and influence our politicians. Yes, the paid agitators.
Even if it's not paid by us as the taxpayers, even if it's paid by...
Yes, there is. There's organizations out there.
George Soros,
yes, I've gone in on George Soros many a time.
That's something that I think needs to be...
I've also gone in on Peter Thiel. I've also gone in on Christopher Rufo. I've gone in on the Heritage Foundation. I've gone in on OSI. I've done it. I give no side in any quarters. But that's why I said the left and the right are the same.
We can't do that. We can't have people paying people just to cause insanity in this country. They can't do it anywhere.
Free market system.
I agree with that, but also that's what's the best way to put it? Fiscal manipulation to further your political view, and that's why I have a really hard time with these donors in politicians' campaigns. But that's a whole nother story. I mean, I can't respect MAGA for getting mad that someone like Stacey Abrams got money out of California, and then I go look at your politicians and they're getting money from California. I can't look at. I can't take y'all serious. I hear you.
If you're gonna tell me that Stacey Abrams shouldn't take money from Hollywood, then don't let me go down your thing and say who are you getting paid by, and I find out it's Wall Street. You look like a hypocrite.
Well, right, and that's the problem with this whole system right now, with our political system. It's just, as a whole, it's broken in so many ways. There needs to be reforms, and there should be a cap on donations. We shouldn't have these special interest groups come in and give millions and millions of dollars to politicians. To then the politicians now owe them because they gave them the money, and that's what it is. It's being bought and sold. And it's terrible. When you play the game, and it's
right.
A game, and I don't know what the solution is. I think the solution will be a cap on donations. I think that's a good one. I think there shouldn't be.
There should be term limits, but we know both sides are not going to go for that.
Yeah, I mean, I understand. I don't think it would be both sides. I think
both sides don't want term limits.
I think it would be the people who are actually giving the money.
No, but what I'm saying is, I'm saying the politicians that we put in there, if they really had a problem with how the government is and they really want to change, that would be the first thing. They would hold themselves accountable. somebody would have come out with that already, saying there should be term limits. I mean, I think somebody did already, but it ain't gonna go nowhere. They do this like every other session of Congress. They do this, and it doesn't go anywhere.
Oh yeah, it's fucking bullshit that some people are in Congress and in these high level executive government positions for decades, and they made at most $200 and some thousand a year, and now they're worth $50 million. It's absolutely insane. It's literally, here's a good thing for your audience. You want to get rich very easily without much work?
Be a
Go
politician.
follow politician stock trades. They're all public. They have to be. Go follow politician stock trades. I promise you'll have a fucking pretty goddamn good trade record.
But here's the problem, though, Rec. Here's the problem, though, Rec. You're gonna go to jail.
It's public information.
No. I don't mean like insider trading. I mean you're gonna go to jail because they're gonna be like, where'd you get all this money from? They're gonna start investigating you.
Look at my trades. I just looked at what Nancy Pelosi was doing and did the same thing.
But Nancy Pelosi can get away with it. Why? But why can Nancy Pelosi get away with it?
That's why we did something called the Pelosi Act.
That you'll never be able to use that in court.
But I mean, they're never going to go to court.
Right. And you know what the judge is going to tell you? You were manipulating.
I mean, I can agree with that in a sense. I mean, it's not insider trading if you don't have insider information, but
Right.
just following people you do.
But if you follow people,
A
right.
lot of liability there.
Right. So you follow people, you get rich, they're going to investigate you. You lose your money, what are they going to say? You were stupid to follow that person. You can't win.
But it's public information.
No, I understand that, but you can't win. If it wasn't you that originated, you can't win. You're going to lose in the end. Because again,
why wouldn't that be the same as following a trader on the internet?
because here's the thing, a trader on the internet has a legal liability to tell you, as they all do in their terms of service, that not every result is going to be the same. A politician don't got to tell you that. A politician going to tell you, me trading stock is something I do in my private life.
But what I'm telling you is when you're an elected official, everything has to be.
I understand that, but they're also going to tell you, and I've seen some of them say this is something I did privately. And I didn't use taxpayer money to do it.
I guess I understand where you're coming from, and there's definitely levels to this shit. But the IRS pay your taxes, they and you can show genuine trades, and you don't have any.
Hold on. Hey, Jam S43. Hold on one second. Jam S43. You could click that link like Rec did and come and prove that MAGA isn't leftist. Let me hear your arguments. I know you were writing down what Rec was saying. I know. But go ahead. I'm sorry about that.
No, you're good. I appreciate the conversation. I like hearing other sides of what I believe and having my opinion be heard. I think that, like I said earlier, I think this dialogue is the most important thing that we can continue to do in this country, and not let someone's political opinion turn into something like what happened to Charlie Kirk.
I mean, you should not have your vice president out here saying, call your employer because someone feels a way about Charlie Kirk.
I agree with that. I agree.
You shouldn't have Pam Bondi talking to a podcaster saying, we're going to target you. We're going to absolutely target you. You shouldn't have your attorney general saying that.
I agree. And I agree.
Here's Trump again.
Not advocating for physical violence, then I agree with that. 100%.
Here's Trump again.
Appropriate President Trump that a president in office should be engaged in so much business activity.
Well, I'm really not. My kids are running the business. I'm here. You know what the activity, where are you from?
I'm from the Australian Broadcasting Corporation, Four Corners
Well,
Program.
the Australians, you're hurting Australia, right? In my opinion, you are hurting Australia very much right now. And they want to get along with me. You know, your leader is coming over to see me very soon. I'm going to tell him about you. You said a very bad tone. Go ahead, John.
Okay,
Maybe you can set a nicer tone. Quiet.
I mean, to be fair, that's just Trump being Trump.
I feel you, but we know Trump here loves what the UK is doing. And he wants to implement that over here.
I don't believe that. I really don't.
He literally is sitting there talking about limiting free speech.
By what statement he just made?
No, not that one. This one. How you gonna have your AG go look at somebody saying something to you in a restaurant? Because they said free Palestine. Why would you target? Why would you use federal resources to go after somebody that said free Palestine?
I would hope that the insinuation was we need to go after the people who are funding them, because I would agree with that.
Then why didn't he say
That's
that?
fucking bullshit. If they are paid actors, which one could really interpret it either way.
But again, you just said that was libel.
It could be. But
He
again,
just said he didn't know who that person was.
Right, so it's hard to be. That's what I'm saying. It's more liable, but because he didn't say anything, there's no legal recourse that could come from that. I could have my lady go to the fucking fly to New York right now, or fly to Washington D.C. and say it was her. Like it's not liable at that point because there's no like face to the name. He's not saying, you know, Rosie O'Donnell did this shit or whatever.
But there's video of that interaction though.
Okay, I mean I'm not a legal scholar, but I don't believe that could be there could be any legal recourse there. I don't believe. Just my perspective.
Well, I mean, what we're going to see next year when all those civil and class action lawsuits against these companies and these schools come out and these hospitals.
You know, what are you referring to with the hospitals?
Do you know how many hospital employees got fired because they said something about Charlie Kirk?
Yes, but it depends on if you're in a right to work state. If you're in a right to work state,
I understand that, but
you know,
they're going to go civil. With those, they're going to go civil.
Right, and to be honest, it's not the government telling anybody to fire them. It's the upper management or ownership or whatever saying that.
But where are they getting influence to fire them from?
Or whatever.
But where are they getting the influence to fire them from?
Well, I mean, you could call something like that creating a hostile work environment, and that's fireable in any state.
Right. No, but what I'm saying is where are these employers getting the information to fire these people from?
I mean, I'm sure people who support Charlie Kirk or don't want, you know, but does everyone is everyone who supports Charlie Kirk
right?
conservative?
And where are these plaintiffs going to say in their briefs? Where are they going to say that this came from?
You can't. You're not gonna. Are you insinuating that it came from the president or?
No, I'm not saying no. Because I said earlier that he's distancing himself away from stuff like this. It's not him. He's going to say it from his supporters.
I mean, I understand that, right? But that's my problem is that not everybody who likes Charlie Kirk likes Donald Trump.
Yeah, but they're not gonna directly say it was him. They're gonna say that his supporters are out there pissed off that somebody died. They went and called my job, but we didn't get pissed off to that extent when they were over there making jokes about George Floyd. And them same people, when they find out who's really behind it, they're gonna pull up their stuff and they're gonna show them mocking George Floyd and nothing happened to him. That's where the disconnect, and that's where a lot of these people are going to lose.
George Floyd was not a political figure. He turned into a political figure.
Correct, but these same people firing. But what I'm saying is these same people running around saying, "Yeah, I called up 471 people to get to these companies to get people fired," or people like Laura Loomer cheering this on. Laura Loomer was sitting there making fun of George Floyd. Nothing happened to her. So what's going to end up happening is when she gets sued civilly, people are going to pull that up. And she's going to lose these cases. I don't think Laura Loomer is going to lose. I don't think that you can sue Laura Loomer. You can sue her civilly. They say they have links to her being with that website I told you about earlier. Okay, I mean, listen. She can be sued. Whoever put up videos saying that they were calling employers, they can be sued civilly. I would agree. I would really think that that's a waste of time and money for most people. But I hear what you're saying. Well, suing civilly is not going to cost you that much. You're only paying the court costs. No, but what I'm saying is you're paying the court costs. Civil lawsuit, just depending on how much you're trying to sue for. You sue for the maximum. But I'm talking about for the plaintiff, it's not going to cost them that much. You saw that with Alex Jones. There is no fucking maximum. Well, Alex Jones is a fucking idiot. Trump just sued the New York Times for $15 billion. But again, Trump has a cadre of lawyers. He can eat that. What I'm saying is, someone like Laura Loomer does not have a cadre of lawyers. She probably has maybe at max maybe 2. She's going to have to pay to defend herself on that.
I would say that because this is so politically charged, I think a lawyer would take that case in 2 seconds.
Of course.
To then come out and make their career
Yes.
if they win. That's what I
Correct.
believe.
Just like all those lawyers in Texas now that are getting calls because them kids got kicked out of school. They say, oh shit, I can sue the state. We going for it.
Yep.
And it's going to happen with these hospital systems as well. They're going to be sued civilly.
Something like George Floyd.
Yeah, they're going to be sued
George
civilly.
Floyd was a tough one for everyone. That was a tough video to watch, whether you're on the right or the left.
No, I don't know anybody who's sitting there cheering about George Floyd.
Are you serious?
George Floyd.
Sir, those lefties, hold on, those lefties I told you about were sitting there saying that he died from fentanyl. They were cheering that man die.
I've never seen videos of people cheering about it. I've
Okay,
definitely heard that.
Rec, when somebody says George Floyd is 2025, he's 5 years sober, that's you cheering he's dead, he's died.
I hear you. I mean, the autopsy came out that he did have fentanyl in the system and whatnot.
But how did he die?
I believe he died from getting a knee on his neck.
Okay, a lot of MAGA don't believe that though. Right.
Highly contributing factor.
Correct, but a lot of MAGA don't believe that. They skipped the first page. They're out. They literally 4 months ago literally wrote out George Floyd has been 5 years sober, including Laura Loomer. So yeah, I feel nothing if they get sued civilly and lose.
It's so racially charged, and people have such streamlined. Like,
Isn't this racially charged too with Charlie Kirk?
I don't think so. I think that it's I don't think Charlie Kirk was a racially charged individual at all, to be honest.
Who were the two biggest names that got put out on Front Street for making fun of Charlie Kirk passing away? What race were they?
I don't know who you're talking about. Are you talking about Candace Owens?
No, not Candace Owens. She didn't chair it. I said, who were the two? What was the race of the two people that are now the biggest faces of this cancel culture movement that MAGA's doing right now?
I don't necessarily know what you're referring to.
Two black college students in Texas.
Okay. I mean, like I said, I think it's a tough.
The only one they're cheering right now is that doctor in New Jersey. I'm sorry, that nurse in New Jersey who got fired for calling out a doctor that was making fun of him. She got suspended without pay, and the doctor kept their job. They called the hospital and got it reversed. She got her job back. The doctor got fired. That's the only one they're cheering.
Yeah, it's a tough one, right? It's now we're mixing, cancel culture and political ideology.
And who did that?
Political ideology is
And
mixed
again, who did that? Who did that?
I can't fire somebody over race, religion, or political views. That's
Correct.
It. I can't do that.
Correct. Now, but who did that?
Sexual orientation is the other.
Which side of the aisle did that?
I guess we did. I don't know.
Right.
I guess
and did y'all not do that in Trump's first term? When people were going after him.
Cancel culture, because I think it's just disingenuous and bullshit. So I don't even know what you're saying, but I'll take your word for it. And if that's the case, it's wrong. I mean, as you can tell, I'm not a hard right person.
Like I said before, I like talking to fiscal conservatives because at least those are the conservatives I know have a head on their shoulders. The rest of them they're just gonna go swing hard with their ideology. What I'm saying is they watched the left do it to them, and now they're doing it back to the left. The pendulum swings both ways.
Yeah, I mean, I have a big problem with cancel culture and how difficult that's been to eradicate from our society. I was having this conversation the other day about how awesome comedy is now. It's fucking funny again because people aren't worried about saying something that's a little blah or afraid of getting canceled. And
wait, no. I have to disagree with you on that because now MAGA's trying to cancel two comedians.
Okay, who are those two comedians?
I don't know their names offhand, but they went on stage and said something about Charlie Kirk. Now they trying to find out who they are.
Yeah,
but you just said comedy is back.
I find that stupid.
But comedy's not back. But check this out though.
No-name comedians.
How come South Park took down the Charlie Kirk episode?
How come they put it out?
No, how come they took it down?
I didn't know they did.
Yeah, they took it down last week.
Yeah, it's a tough one. It would be like making an MLK episode before MLK died. I compare it to that for a reason. I think that this is a big turning point in our country. No pun intended. I think that this is a point in our country where it can go one of two ways. We can utilize the other side's, like aspect of violence, or we can utilize the aspect of communication, which I think there needs to be this, not anything else.
Kaliwana, you want to explain? Hold on one second.
Like you should have no reason.
Hold on one second. Kaliwana, you want to explain this to me? Since you want to say it's still on Paramount Plus, how come they pulled it? I know you were going to try to tell me I was lying. This is why I tell you, y'all got to stop hearing and listening. I specifically said they pulled the Charlie Kirk episode. I didn't say they took South Park down. That's not what I said. Thank you so much. Anyway, continue, sir.
So Comedy Central pulled it, is what
Hold on. Yes. Comedy Central. No. The creators of South Park took it down. They're on Paramount Plus now. They're not on Comedy Central anymore.
Okay. I mean, I'm sure that people went after them thinking that because they put an eye on him and.
Yeah, but he liked it though.
Kirk saw the video, he loved it.
Yeah, he loved it, and he changed his profile pic to it. Why would you pull it down? He didn't get assassinated in that episode.
That's something that I think is I don't have the answers to that.
Sounds like MAGA got butthurt.
That's a speculative fucking.
No, it sounds like MAGA was pissed off now that they were monetizing off his death, because they knew after he died, people were going to go watch that episode again, and they were going to make more money off of it. So they were like, damn, we should be the only ones making money off of it. So they probably called up Paramount and told them, hey, you better take this down. That's what I think happened.
I would agree with that statement in a way. Yeah, sure. I mean, it's definitely not the people who hate it wanting it.
Great, Saber. If I don't know anything, click the link and prove I don't know anything. Prove it.
No, I mean, again, you're bringing up a lot of issues that I have to look up, and I'm looking it up, and I see that like I said, I think that there's a lot of animosity right now that is just that people are becoming what they've fought so hard to take out of our society, and it's impossible to justify from like my perspective. I can't justify.
Well, think of it this way: if you take this out, think of it this way,
or their own beliefs.
Think of it this way: if you take this out, what are you going to talk about?
Ask that one more time. Sorry, the stupid dogs are barking.
Shout out to the dogs.
Right.
If you take out this whole discussion, what's left to talk about?
I mean, I think there's, I think that, in all honesty, that there needs to be. That's the best way to put this. What the fuck is going on?
I don't know.
Dogs! Hey! What are you doing?
We gonna give him a little respect, family. We good?
I think we good, man. I appreciate the conversation.
Yeah, because I was gonna drop you down. No, I'm saying I was gonna drop you down until you got the dogs good.
My bad. They're good. They should.
Okay, say less. You didn't kick them out, did you?
No, sorry.
All right, say less.
They're by the window. They like to look at buddies running across the field and stuff, so they freak out.
It wasn't the mailman.
But no, wasn't the mailman this time.
Say less. All right.
It wasn't the mailman.
Let the Amazon drivers live.
Oh, man.
But what I was asking you before is, if we take out this whole cancel culture stuff, what is left for MAGA to talk about? Honestly, do you think a lot of the big voices could sit there and really explain the Fed rate cut? Could they explain what's going on with BRICS and the West? Could they explain why Modi keeps changing his tune with helping the U.S. and then backing off and aligning with BRICS because he's in BRICS? Do you think they could talk about what happened with Japan after they gave us almost $1 trillion in investment, and now that's in jeopardy because Japan's government just fell? Could they talk about stuff like that?
One would hope so, because that's really been the MO of conservatives in
right, but most of them, but that's what I'm saying, most of them can't do it.
And not conversations.
Right, but that's what I'm saying.
That's
Most of
stupid cancel culture.
Correct.
That's another straw man argument that has been utilized a lot by a lot of conservative content creators. And
Right,
we're
but
kind of
that's
just using the left's target, the left's avenues against them.
but that's what I'm saying. I see the left a lot of times. All they do is talk about whatever is hot right now. They're not talking about the real issues. I'm not saying all of them do that, but a good chunk, a good majority of them, we're talking like 90%, do that. And I'm seeing that on the right too. You guys should be all of y'all should be talking about the issues in the country. But if there's no left slant to it, you can't explain it to your audience.
I agree with you, and I think that,
And that's troubling.
If we take cancel culture out of it, I would hope that there are actual fiscal conservatives that can have those.
Saber, click the link. Stop talking in the chat. If you think I'm lying, click the damn link. Because you're telling me MAGA want to be great. What is greatness about trying to cancel people and making more unemployed people, which is going to put more of a strain on the system? How is that us being great? Because them same people y'all cheering getting fired are going to be the first ones calling up unemployment, which comes out of your tax dollars. Now what?
Yeah, I completely agree with that statement. It's bullshit, and it's not right, and it's not how
And they probably live in your state.
we fought so hard to get rid of cancel culture and bring back a level of communication and a level.
And the left and the right undid it in 2 weeks.
Yeah, it's very. I use this word a lot, but disingenuous. It's not. It's
Because they don't care about you or me. They care about power. That's why a lot of them love bragging about how close they are to Trump. That's why a lot of them on the left were bragging, oh, I got to meet Kamala Harris. Kamala Harris knows me. Oh, she's following me. Joe Biden knows me. I took a picture with Joe Biden. Who gives a fuck?
so. Here's the
Because
point
now
I'll
that
make.
they're out of power, they ain't calling you now, are they?
Here's the point I'll make about that. My first class in college was a journalism class, and my professor had 2 doctorates. And the first thing he said in class was, there is no truth in anything you read. What you have to do is that what we had to do for every single journalism paper that we put in, every single thing we researched, we had to get an online source, a news source, and like a paper source, and we had to get 4 or 5 different sources from different
Talk your
outlets,
shit.
different viewpoints, and then you got. What the problem that I see with people, and with this argument in itself, I appreciate it because it lets me explain this, is that we are facing the fact that a lot of people, which is true on both sides, a lot of people listen to echo chambers and listen to what their person says, and they like a person, they like their viewpoint, so they listen to that, and that's the viewpoint that they run with, rather than taking the time to go and a lot of people don't like being told that they're wrong, and I understand that, but if you ever want to have a real, genuine viewpoint, you have to get the other side's viewpoint and actually contemplate it, and be able to listen to things you don't want to hear. And I think that that's why you see a lot of...
Watch this. Hey, Rec, I'm finna show you something. Watch this. Watch this. I'm fixing to show you something. Let me see if you can see it. Hold on. I gotta change it. Give me 1 second. I want you to see that comment by that Saber person, and that just proves...
Just move it up a little bit. I'm trying to see. Oh,
right there. The one that says Saber 444. That's exactly what I'm talking about.
And I understand that perspective too, but at the same time,
That pussy will never come up here.
Yeah, that's not... There's your truth, their truth, and then the truth. Your truth is not the same as their truth, and their truth is not the same as yours, and that you have to come to your own conclusion of what... And I hate the word your truth because it sounds,
The link is at the bottom, CGI. The link is at the bottom or up top.
There is nobody has the right answers. No politician is ever going to tell you what is exactly happening, what is going on. Nobody on the right is going to tell you the absolute truth. Nobody on the left is going to tell you the absolute truth. Everyone has a bias, and that's the case. And you have to work through.
Yes, Saber, you're weak. Yes, we know you're weak.
What your view of the scenario is.
Hold on 1 second. Yes, Saber, I'm the sword of Excalibur. You're a saber, sir. You're an old school tiger's teeth. I will smoke you right now, but I know you won't do it because you're probably looking for a job right now. Listening to me be great and having a conversation with someone who's on some things we disagree with, but it's been civil. I know you can't do this because you've just figured out, listening to what we've been saying for the last 20 minutes, that you're actually a leftist, even though you claim to be MAGA. You wish your hat was blue. You wish you could have gotten that blue MAGA hat. You wish, because so you can infiltrate. I understand. That's why your avatar is in blue. It's okay, though. We understand. When they get destroyed next year, you'll be politically and ideologically homeless. We understand. Don't come over here. I'll roast you every day. Continue, sir. I'm sorry for that.
Now, let me ask you, do you think this Charlie Kirk scenario and what happened to him is going to empower the left, or do you think it's going to empower the right more?
I think it's going to empower the left more.
And why do you believe that?
Because Trump is going to put out the crime bill and the left is going to go for it.
Okay.
This is why I've been preaching to my crowd for the last year that the Democrats and Republicans right now, yeah, it looks like they're squabbling on TV, but in the back room, they're setting up MAGA to be destroyed next year. They're tired of y'all. Well, not you, so you're not MAGA, but they're tired of MAGA. And they're doing everything possible to get rid of y'all. And it's going to start in Virginia in November when they get rid of Winsome Sears. Then it's going to happen when the midterms come and they start destroying everybody that was aligned with MAGA and kick them out of Congress. So now you have no voice in politics. Trump becomes a lame duck because the Democrats, I think, are going to get back the majority. Then what's going to happen is, now that you don't have a voice and everybody's going to start slowly getting away from MAGA, all of a sudden now they're going to start putting up moderate Democrats that are actually going to make sense. And people on the right are actually going to start listening to him and say, you know what, he sounds kind of even keeled. Meanwhile, your J.D. Vance, who everybody's running and say that's going to be the heir apparent, he's just like MAGA. He looks bad now, especially with what he said yesterday on Charlie Kirk's show, talking about censoring speech, and nobody wants to hear that.
I think that it's a level right now, like I said, of so much animosity that there's probably a large part of Trump's base that's like, they fucking did it to us, watch, we're going to do it right back to you. And that's where I have a problem, but I think a lot of Republicans aren't going to have a problem with it because they did it to us for so long. When we had an opinion that they didn't like, now it's our turn to do it to them. I don't believe that, but I think that's
but here's the thing. If a Republican comes out publicly and says they agree with what people are doing, they're going to lose their seat. Nobody wants to see that because how's that supposed to help the country? Especially when the lawsuits come down. Now you look dumb. Mike Lee looks like a retard right now because he's sitting there waving the MAGA flag. He want to be number one in MAGA right now. He's going to lose his seat. And people are going to come back and point to this. Scott Presler is getting raked over the coals right now.
About moderate Democrats.
No, but what I'm saying is everybody.
They come out. Yeah, there's a lot of people who would vote for him. The problem is that the base of the liberals is so radicalized, in my opinion. Not radicalized. They are so far. They've gone so far left.
I hear you, but
you don't believe everything that we saw with RFK. He was the most, he was genuinely, in my opinion, the most.
Keep going.
Democrat that I've seen.
Who's that?
A long time.
Wait, who's that?
Robert F. Kennedy Jr.
Keep going, but he's aligned with MAGA. They don't like him.
See, but that's the problem, is that he was a registered Democrat.
Mm-hmm.
He was moderate in his views.
Yeah, but here's the thing, though, and a lot of y'all forget this too. If you run over to the other side, they're gonna look at you as the enemy. Look at what they're doing to Bernie Sanders right now. He was better off saying nothing about Charlie Kirk except, you know what, prayers to his family. He came outside and said he's not a racist. Sir, you literally heard what that man said.
So do you think Charlie Kirk's a racist?
I think he was, yes.
And what makes you believe that?
Why did he always have to go out of his way to say something about black people? Why couldn't he come together? Since y'all keep telling me he loves having these debates, why is everything a lead a debate with how crime is in the black community? You have crime all over the country.
I agree.
Why are we not talking about the overall crime problem? Why are you only focused? Let's just say it like this. You eliminate the black crime problem in America, there's still going to be crime. Now what?
I agree. I agree with you, but that's not really the sentiment of it. It's the statistics behind it. You guys make
Okay,
up
so let's
13%
talk
of the
about
population,
fine. Then
and
let's
you
talk
make up
about the white
50%
statistic.
of the murder.
Then why didn't he?
63% of the violent crime.
Why
That's
didn't
just a statistic.
he? Why didn't he
is
talk
that
about the
the
white
case?
crime then?
Well, it's because statistically, it's not really a factor compared to the murder rate. In
But wait a minute. But he loved bringing up the 2019 stats, and white people were overwhelmingly leading than everybody else. Why wouldn't you talk about that?
Well, white people are always going to lead more because we
So
make up
why
like 60%
don't you
of the
talk
population.
about that?
But the statistics need to be compared in a legitimate way, not just there's.
I
more
understand
white
that,
people
but
being
why
killed.
wouldn't he
It's-
go to when he goes to these debates? Why doesn't he bring up white crime?
I mean, I don't have an answer for that other than the fact that
Because he
black
would be
Mexicans are
because
so
what
overwhelmingly
because it's something that we could do in the black grass was called being off code. He would be upsetting white people.
I understand your.
Okay, fine. Let's play it like this.
I find it.
Before he died, hold on, and then somebody else just came. Hold on. Somebody else just came in. I want to get to them.
Yep.
Why didn't he? Right? There was just a case in North Carolina of this Republican lawmaker who literally spiked his granddaughter's ice creams with coke and ecstasy. Why didn't he say something about that?
I don't know. That's absolutely egregious in the chip.
He had a school called Turning Point USA Dream Academy, right, out there in Arizona. One of his teachers molested a student. Why didn't he say something about that?
Yeah, that's
And it became national, and it was news all over Arizona where he lived. Why didn't he say something about that? That was his school.
Yeah, it's a terrible thing. I mean, he should have come out publicly. And
Okay, now in that case, that was a Hispanic. But what I'm saying is, there's been much white crime in this country. Why, unless there was a slant to it, didn't he say something about it?
Again, because the way the statistics are, it's overwhelming, and most of the time, the black issue comes up.
So that proves that he had a slant, right?
Well, it doesn't prove anything because unless you have the statistics in front of you,
But he had the statistics in front of him because he always cites the 2019. He saw how many times white crime was over black crime, but he chose to focus on the black crime.
Again, because white people make up 63% of the population.
So why is he talking to the 63% of white people and saying we got to stop the crime?
Because statistically, it's very ridiculously disproportionate.
Okay, great. Why didn't you're still not answering my question? Why didn't he not talk about white crime?
Again, I don't have the answer to that, but what I'm saying
Because he
is
didn't want to, because there was no money in it.
I can understand that, and I appreciate that. What I'll say is crime, and it's terrible. No matter
Correct.
what happens.
But why focus on one subsector of the social order? Why not focus on all of it?
Because disproportionately, we need to fix the young black men killing each other because they make up 50% of the murder.
We can do that ourselves, and we've been trying to do that, which is what I went back with the Detroit 300. Who stopped that? The Detroit City Council. Now I'm going to say it again. He has all these small towns that are predominantly white killing each other. Why didn't he not talk about that? Why did he not set up intervention programs in those neighborhoods?
Yeah, I don't have the answers for you.
Because he didn't want to.
I don't have the answers. Yeah.
Because if it was him or his paymasters, they did not want to.
But let me ask you, hypothetically, he started doing that, and like you just said, we could do it ourselves. Would you guys feel this? Would you African American individuals here in this country feel like he's doing something wrong because he's coming in and trying to do something?
No, because you know why I wouldn't. No, because we've asked y'all, hey, if you really want to have these dialogues, come in and be actually sincere about it, not look for a photo op. We've asked black folks that are conservatives, you know what? We have people in Chicago right now that are on your side that need the national visibility. They need that internet visibility to show the work that they're doing. They refuse to go over there because they thought they were going to piss off the white right because they wanted to keep that access. So we said, fuck it, we're going to do it ourselves. And we've been doing it ourselves. Now they don't want to say nothing about it. Now it's all about black crime. Let's go to DC and show the black crime. Yet DC crime was trending downward. Now we're gonna go to Memphis. Memphis was trying, but now all of a sudden now they don't want to. Now they want to act like they're doing something. They're going to Chicago. It's always Chicago. Next is gonna be New York. You have towns right now on the U.S. News World Report top 25 that's not even dominated by black population that have rampant amount of crime, but nobody wants to go take care of that. Why is that? You don't think if you drop the white crime numbers that everybody else's crime is going to drop? Or you think if you just eliminate black crime that everybody's crime is going to stop? That's not going to stop everybody. Everybody's going to keep going.
I agree, but that's like saying that would be like an argument of if you just end hunger in Detroit, people are still going to be hungry in fucking Chicago. It's a very tough argument to even have right there. Like, I agree with you. It's just because it's not going to stop all crime doesn't mean that something.
The reason why they're going after Chicago is because it's the third largest city in the country, and they can look at that and say, hey, you know what? If crime goes down a little bit, yeah, we did something. Just like Janine Pirro just went outside and said, look how much crime went down in D.C. since Trump went there. The crime was already trending downward. Go in them small towns and clean up the crime. Clean up all the drugs that flow through there. Clean up all the molestation that goes through there. Clean up all the murders that they like to cover up in there. Go do that. Go to those cops. Go to those city councils and say, start sending your crime numbers to the FBI so we can get a real gauge on it. They won't do that because they don't want to fix their own problems because they think their society is okay. It's not. And the faster they do that, the better off this country will be, because then everybody can't go point fingers at each other anymore.
So here's the best way to look at it, in my mind. If you have a finger that's what's the best representation of this analogy? If you have
If one of my fingers are fucked up, I'm not going to cut off the other one just to say the other one's okay. No, I guess that's what I'm going to cut that finger off, and I'm going to look like the Black Ranger from the first season of Mighty Morphin Power Rangers.
What I'm saying is, if you got that sprain on your ankle and you've got pneumonia, which one are you going to address first?
I'm going to address the pneumonia first.
So that's
because I can die. I can die from something that I try to acknowledge is not there. People are going to know there's something fucked up with my ankle. I can play off having pneumonia. That's what the white right is doing right now. They're playing off like they don't have pneumonia, even though everybody can hear them coughing.
Right. I hear you, and I agree in a sense. What I'm asking you is, I'm relating that to like African American crime rates, right? If the black crime rate is pneumonia, and the white crime rate is, let's use a better example. The white crime rate is a fucked up knee. Which one are we going for first? I got to go for one, so you can't do both at the same time.
How you gonna get to the doctor's office with a fucked up knee?
Shit, you drive? I don't know. I mean,
you're gonna drive on a fucked up knee? You better than me. You better than me, bro. I'm not driving on no fucked up knee.
I hear you.
Guess what I'm gonna do? I'm gonna call an ambulance, right?
Here's a better context for the black crime statistics. 29.4 out of 100,000 black Americans died from gunshots. Only 12.5 out of 100,000 white people.
So why did Charlie Kirk not focus on saving the 12.5 white people that were getting killed per 100,000, which would help him in the long run? You might have just changed for every 100,000. Wait a minute, for every 100,000, and he saved them 12.5. You would have just made 12.5 new TPUSA members.
I mean, I hear what you're saying in a sense, right? But
I think Charlie Kirk might have rather gone 6 for 12 from the field than 0 for 29.
I hear you.
Or maybe 3 for 29.
So what do you think the cause is for that significant spike in the black crime rates?
Money.
Specifically violent crime.
Money.
And what do you mean by money? What are you talking about? Government needs to give you money?
You make sure the black community is in disarray. You get the city councils to come in and ask the corporations, hey, we're going to give more money to them cops. We're going to put them in those areas. They don't want to play ball. We get them out of there. We drive everything down. Now you can come in there and buy up everything for a song, revitalize it, kick them out. Now you have gentrification that just happened. And you've seen that in New York on a rampant scale the last 30 years. Now you've made the city more money, you've made these corporations more money. And who gets disenfranchised? Everybody, not just black and Hispanics. You made everybody have to feel the pain of rising costs because you wanted to focus on one aspect of the problem instead of balancing it out.
I understand that, and I appreciate that. I do get what you're saying, and I understand the sentiment behind what you're saying. They shouldn't be all focused on race, but what I'm trying to say is those city council members are elected officials.
Correct.
So if the city council members are doing nothing, why are we not?
It's not that no. It's not that they're not doing anything. They're beholden, just like our politicians in Washington. They're beholden to people that have money. They're not beholden to their citizens. Because these are the same politicians, when you go to their district office, they're never there. You have to leave them messages. And trust me, I know that from experience because Hakeem Jeffries was my representative when I lived in New York. I could never get him in his office any day. And I used to call like every other day. And I even called him one time coming out of the office. He wouldn't talk because I had some questions.
So this brings up an interesting point, is that...
Well, let this be the last one because I have somebody on the back channel that wants to come up.
I got you. Yep, absolutely.
Go ahead.
Oh, I was just saying, it brings up an interesting point of then why are we focusing on the politicians that are in your face, telling you what you want the most, doing the TV ads and those things? Why aren't we looking into the politicians that don't have the funding, that are running on actual issues? And there are people who do that.
Well, I've done that on my platform.
Have the media.
I've actually done that on my platform. I've hosted politicians that haven't taken corporate money, and I've also advocated to get everybody out of Congress next year. I did that during the election cycle last year, and I'm doing it again. Get everybody out.
Voices like yours that are the important ones, and that needs to happen more in this country.
But again, they don't want to listen to me because I'm saying things that they think, but they don't want to out loud because then I'd be looked at as a radical. And also what I've also said is people are scared of change.
They're scared of change, but at some point we have to do something about it and advocate for those people and be on the ground in our districts, in our cities, and in the local areas. Because the federal government is never going to come and give a fuck about us. The president doesn't really have. No,
they elected a corporate president. They elected the corporate president
on your day to day.
They elected somebody who was beholden to corporations this time.
Your state, your judges, those people that you elect, but nobody votes in these elections. I live in a county of 330,000 people, and the most votes that any of those smaller elections got, the most votes that one person got, was 10,000. It's insanity. Nobody cares about that. People think that these.
But that's why we've also preached on here, focus on your local and state.
I think that's the start of the solution here, in my mind.
But anyway, let me get to this person. I thank you for the conversation.
Of course, it was a great conversation, Doug. We'll talk again soon. Have a good day.
Yes, sir. You too. See, that's how you do it, but